Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I know after last week's episode on Porsche's Animals, you're probably expecting a similar one on Sandrock, but to be honest, I haven't played enough into the game to have bought the shed, stable, and so on. So I'm not really going to speak to it other than, the same kind of stuff I would be speaking of from the wiki. So instead, this week, we're going to talk about Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time. Now, you might have seen some about this here and there if you watch other channels of similar styles, those who do cozy games or those who are like, I've seen it on some RPG channels, I've seen it on some of the life sim channels, and you might be wondering, well, what the heck is this game? So, we're going to talk today about what we do know and what we can expect based on the previous title. For those who don't know, Fantasy Life was a game that came out it was either 2017 or 2018 on the 3DS. It was released and developed by Level 5 Studios, the same people who do the Professor Layton series. And it has that very signature art style that they have. So far, we've gotten one Western trailer. There have been a couple other smaller trailers in Japan. I think even the Western trailer was mostly the language one. But, you know, there's not a whole lot on it. Like, we don't even have a date. We know it's releasing this year, but we don't have a date for it. Considering that it's already mid-April, I'm gonna say probably not gonna see it until July at the earliest. Expect probably late third quarter, early fourth quarter, probably. That might even be very late in the year. I know some people are like, "Oh man, I really hope it's not that," because there's also I'm drawing a blank on the title, Fairy Life or Fairy something like that. That's coming out late this year that they don't want to have to be like trying to do both games at the same time. So that much we do know. Um, that said, you're gonna hear comparisons being made fairly or unfairly to Animal Crossing, especially New Horizons. If you look into this game a bit, specifically this one, not the original one. And like I said, some are fair, some are unfair. So what do we know about the story for this one? Well, we flip down here to the blurb, and you can already see the comparisons there. You know, starting on a ruined island, build your own city. If you watch the first trailer we got, you'll see like this golem here helping with terraforming, much like in New Horizons, where you terraform and build up, your own cliff sides and redirect the rivers and all that. That said, I think that's where the Animal Crossing comparisons really need to stop. Um, There are definitely things that this has similar since you're building up a city. You're probably placing things here and there, just like in New Horizons and other Animal Crossings. But, Animal Crossing is, if I were to give it a genre, other than just saying cozy game, which honestly it kind of is the signature cozy game, um, it's I would say a social sim or a debt simulator or something to that effect. It's not an RPG. It doesn't have RPG elements. Fantasy Life is very much an RPG system. You have, several different classes or jobs, which in this they're called lives. The basic premise in the original game, and I'm probably going to carry that over story-wise with this one, is that long, long time ago, the people would give up their wishes to this goddess, and she would fulfill them. And one day, she's just like, you know what? I'm going to teach you guys how to fulfill other people's wishes for them. And so she basically taught them these various professions that are now called lives. And so your various jobs and classes are called lives in this game. In the original, there were 12. We know there's 14 in this one. We'll talk about that a little bit more when I switch over to this other tab here. But yeah, that's what we've got going on. So looking at these, you can see here, this here, I believe, is our titular girl who steals time. We don't have her name yet, but That's her. This golem here is what you see in the trailer, helping you like terraform and all that. If we zoomed in, you can see certain signature characters throughout from the previous game because there's definitely returning ones. Up here, for example, is the Knapdragon. He is kind of like this iconic monster, the top tier enemy for paladins to fight, etc., kind of thing. And these two pictures are the exact same here, but this is kind of the one of the final shots of the trailer. Over here, you can see here's that same girl I was pointing out, saying, "Hey, I'm going to send you back 1,000 years." This game is going to have a time travel mechanic through the course of the story. I don't think it's going to be something you have access to all times. Maybe you do. Like she'll create portals that you can step in and go back and forth. It might just be stuck to the story beats, but you'll travel back to the past and back to the present to solve the mystery and the story of this game. Um, but that's definitely a thing. Animal Crossing doesn't have time travel. Uh, Another thing Animal Crossing doesn't have is, like I said, the lives. And there are, like I said, in the previous game we had 12. We'll see a screenshot later showing that there's 14 in this one. But they're not all combat lives either. Only 4 combat lives exist in the game. There's in the original there were 3 gathering and 5 crafting as well. There are 2 new ones. One I can firmly say is probably a crafting, and the other one is either going to be a gathering or a crafting because it's kind of right in between the two. But you can absolutely play this game start to finish with 1 life. You don't have to do any combat. You can be like, hey, I just want to be a cook, and I'm going to play the whole game as a cook. However, that is not the ideal way to play it. It's not the recommended way to play it. Um, you have the ability to change lives. Once you learn skills from 1 life, you can use those skills in any other life, but you'll still have to have 1 active life that you're in at that moment. And you'll gain benefits from being in an active life as opposed to using skills from that life while in another life. For example, the gathering lives. So, like if you're a woodcutter or a miner, you'll get more stuff from mining and woodcutting if you're in that life as opposed to if you're not in it. But the ability to combine lives is really ideal. So, for say you want to be a paladin as your combat life, you're going to be a very strength-based build. So you'll be well to go, okay, well, let's also pick up mining and maybe even woodcutting, because those also are strength-based gathering professions. And then let me gather the resources so that I can go then be a blacksmith to make my own gear and, blend all those systems together. It's very similar to how Rune Factory or Porsche blend all their systems together. But this picture here is going to show kind of the mini game for the crafting ones. You'll have like 3 different stations here, and based on it, like it's not showing it very well. It's not like showing like you'll have like an icon here saying go to this station, and you'll see over that station, okay, this is what I need to do. So for this one, you might be holding down the A button just while you're stirring the pot. This one, you'll be tapping it fast while you're cutting the fish, and this one, it'll be similar to the tandem smithing or fishing or whatever that you have in Rune Factory, where you have the uh, cursor basically going back and forth across the bar, and you're trying to hit it in sweet spot for this one. And different crafting professions will have different mini games. Most of them will have the same 3 variations, but like the tailoring one didn't have the just holding down the button one in the 3DS version. But moving on to the next screenshot here. There's combat. This is going to be your character. I talked about the Knapdragon a little bit earlier. This here is probably one of the NPCs. I don't recognize him, but it could also be another player. One of the things that Fantasy Life original as well as this one have had is that there is multiplayer. You can have other players come with you. You can have other NPCs come with you, or even pets. Um, and in fact, we'll kind of jump ahead here. The I here, they have said that it stands for 4 different things. The first is island, because you're on an island. The second is internet. The third is I, as in you, the player. And the fourth, they're still keeping secret. So absolutely, you can join people together. You can have party up with other players. There's combat. Big year, I'm doing a video, and so on. Moving on to the next one. This is probably, I'm gonna guess that this one is talking about like placing items as you're building up the city, which is where again the Animal Crossing comparisons come from. I would have to go rewatch the trailer to see what this exact moment was, but I think that's what this is. Is hey, I'm putting down the swing set here. Um, and while this game is definitely expanding on that system, there was a system like that already in the first one in decorating your homes. And as you can see, like I said, your character kind of looks closer to a me than an Animal Crossing character. It's not quite either of them, but definitely closer to the Miis. And yeah, so we'll pop over here to there was another trailer that came out last month, and yeah, it says it shows 12 out of 14 jobs. So these are the same 14 jobs or 12 jobs that we had in the last game. So these four here are your combat professions. They'll be slightly differently named in different places. So, in some places, this is magician, and I think in America we called it wizard. But like I have an EU copy for my 3DS one, so it's magician on mine. I've heard this one's called a paladin or warrior, depending on the region. This is mercenary and hunter, and those are your four combat lives. You have your three gathering ones: mining, uh, wood cutting, and angler. This one is possibly a fourth uh, gathering profession being added in, probably another gathering of some sort, since this here cook, blacksmith, uh, carpenter, tailor, and alchemist start the crafting professions, and this is definitely a crafting life here at the end. So we might get a new trailer later this month or start of May that gives us an actual release date. Um, and the release date for this year may not even be here in the West. It may be just a Japanese release date. I don't know yet that we're getting a uh, tandem release for this game. But yeah, you can absolutely see like this is probably your paladin or warrior here that this character's playing right now. Um, so let's switch over to the 3DS and take a look at what we can infer from that. All right. So here we are on my 3DS game, and we are currently in the guild. So this is going to be an important thing. You have the guild master here. You'll talk to him, and you'll change. This is how you change your lives. If the new game plays off similar to this one, then one of the things that we're going to have an issue with is there will be times that you cannot come back here and change it. When the way the story works, let me talk about that a little bit here. We'll talk about the quests here, and that'll kind of explain it. There's three types of quests. You have challenges, which are done by your current lifestyle, or any of your lifestyles that you have active. You'll have, in this one, they're called Flutter's requests. In the new one, it'll probably be the girl who steals time, whatever her name is, requests, and then other requests. This middle one is the important one, because this is the character who drives the story for you. So you'll have, okay, I want you to go do these things. And as you do them, you'll get bliss, which we'll talk a little bit later. And as you complete, like I've got these 5 here I need to do, you can see I've got these other ones that are completed. Once I've completed these 5, I'll go back and talk to that character, and it'll require me to save the game, and it'll start advancing the story aspect of the game. During those story moments, I cannot change my life, so I need to be sure I've got the one that I really want before I go talk to that character. Outside of those moments, once the chapter, like it'll say, hey, chapter begin, like, oh, this story part, begins, and then you'll later on, as you finish it up, it'll have like a scroll across, chapter complete kind of thing. In those in-between times, you can go explore, you can do whatever, and that's when you can change your life. So that's important to keep in mind. But like I said, you can change your life, I can come in here and go, okay, let's take a look at this. I'm currently a woodcutter, but I'm actually normally a magician. That's my primary one. So let's say, hey, I want to come back over and be my magician. Or, hey, I'm done woodcutting and I want to go do carpentry. And I can toggle my information here. My skills are. So you can see you get a lot of different skills. And you can notice from some of these here, like, you have a rank. You start at fledgling when you first start it. And then as you complete, like, the starter quest, you become it's not apprentice. I think it's novice. You start as a fledgling, you have 0 rank in it. That's just like your tutorial stage for that life. So you'll have no bonuses at that one. And then you'll go up to novice, then apprentice, then adept, then expert, then master, and so on. And at your first stage, you get no bonuses. Once you get completed with that tutorial stage, if the new game plays like this one, you only have to play through the first one for your starter life, and then you can skip the others if you want to. I wouldn't. It's totally worth doing them. They give you a bit of dosh, which is the primary currency in this game, like basically gold. And they kind of teach you some of the mechanics of that class or that life. And as you level up, you'll get bonuses, +2 per rank to your primary attribute, and then +1 to another one that's kind of important. So, for example, if I come over to Paladin here, Vitality is my +2, and then your hit points is +10 for thing. So, because it's kind of like the tanky class, you're going to be that. But like the Mercenary is your offensive class with strength based, so it's strength plus the same hit points. Hunter's dexterity for the bow plus strength helps a little bit, and so on. So you can be like, okay, yeah, no, strength is important for woodcutter. Like I was saying earlier, strength is important for woodcutter and miner. It's also not really listed, but it kind of helps. Like vitality is useful for these two as well, so you'll probably be doing those anyways. So like these 6 professions, our lives all work really well together. Magician works well with alchemist, and a little bit to also angler. Those 3 kind of work together well. You can throw in dexterity for tailor and do those kind of together. Cook, those kind of go all together, those 5. Hunter's kind of an odd one out. I mean, dexterity is useful for some of these, so you could say, hey, these ones work together well. We don't know what the other 2 are. That was the question marks that we saw in that little screenshot earlier from the trailer from last month. But yeah, so let's say, hey, I just want to change over to magician. There is job or life specific gear, so let's take a look at my inventory gear here. None of which I have on me. Let's see. Yeah, I might have to check in my inventory. But like when you start the game, you'll have different outfits. Each life will have its own unique outfit, and so when you change lives, it'll remove the old outfit and put the new one on you when you first start the new life. But because it gave you that new outfit, if you then leave that life and go back to the first one, it'll leave you naked. It'll be just like your underwear, basically, and you'll have to re-equip it. So there's absolutely equipment that you like, oh yeah, I want these. So, another thing of importance is bounty. Basically, you'll have kind of mini-boss monsters, or like really, really big things, nodes for mining, or fishing, or tree cutting that you can do. That once you've killed the monster or whatever, it'll appear in a box spot that you can pick up and take around with you. And you'll bring it back to the bounty clerks for rewards. You get paid, you get an item, etc. Which, let's get back to the quests, because that kind of leads into those. There are 3 types of quests in this game. We talked about this earlier. There's the challenges. These reward you in stars. Stars are, I've heard them kind of referred to as a currency. They're more like an experience system for your life. So my current stars, there's 3550 stars that I have right here for Magician. That is specifically for my Magician life. If I switch over to, say, Woodcutter, I've only got 550. And there's all these here that I can go, okay, let's go do these. And your challenges kind of fall into 3 categories. Like, they'll have different ones to say, hey, go do, use this X amount of times, or go gather this many things, or kill this enemy, or whatever. But they basically fall into 3 categories in how you need to do them. So, your first one, and your most common one, especially for your gathering professions, is like this. Cut and gather X. Cut and gather 10 pine logs. We had the oak logs, etc. These ones, you can note on here that already, it doesn't say anything specific of, oh, you need to be a woodcutter when you're doing this. So, I can go be a magician in my combat life, and go cut down these logs because I've built up the skill, and I can complete these challenges. I have to be the woodcutter to turn them in, but I can complete them, which is exactly how I did all of these, as the magician, and then once I've built them all up, I can switch back to woodcutter and go turn them in. There are others, which are mostly with your combat profession ones, that are specifically, as a mercenary, as a paladin, as a magician, etc., go defeat X amount of enemies in this place. You have to be in that life to do it. So, as magician as my primary combat life, I'd already killed a bunch of Kharites, but it wasn't going to let me gain the points for that as a mercenary because I wasn't a mercenary at the time. I had to be actively in the mercenary life to benefit. Your third one, which let me switch over to my magician for that to try to demonstrate what that is, are basically ones that you can do as a different life. They're related to the bounties we were talking about earlier. You have to turn in the bounty while in the respected life. So, here we go. In this one, it's go defeat this desert spook near the ancient ruins at night, then cash in the bounty as a magician. There will be later ones for the gathering ones, for example. So, okay, go grab, go catch a swordfish and then turn in the bounty as an angler. I can go be out wherever the swordfish is caught as a magician and catch it, and then go back to the guild hall, switch over to angler, and turn it in the bounty. That said, there are little bounty clerks out in the wild, so unless you specifically have one like that, you don't have to turn them in that way. But there's that. So let's change back over to Woodcutter and demonstrate some of the differences to this, because we had some of those I could turn in. Probably not enough to level up, but hey, there is a minimal fast travel system in this game that might be there. You can travel to the location of the master of whatever your current life is. You can travel back to the guild office, and you can travel to any of your homes. Right now I've only got the one home. I haven't advanced the story enough to get ones in the other cities. And there's other homes you can buy in the city and all that. So let's go to my master's location, travel over, and, oh, hey, I want to go turn in, report these. And so this is what I was talking about. Like, it's kind of like a, more of an experience than a currency. Even though it kind of shows as a currency, like with the currency stuff. So there are stars I've acquired. Boom. That's enough stars. I can now rank up. Became an adept. And you'll see I'll go Strength 6, Dexterity 3. And now I'll unlock new challenges. Got a new skill. That's good work, yep. And now you'll see there are characters around the town that are related to that life that have a blue question mark over their head. I can go talk to them, and some of them will give me like an item, or they'll give me a new challenge. He'll probably explain the skill I just unlocked and how to do it. So like, I'll talk to her. Oh, you've already reached out of break. You have don't. Now you know more force woodcutting than I do. And now she's like, "Oh, you don't mind taking me with you when you go woodcutting?" So now she's like, "Okay, now I can invite her to join me." And like I said, I can go, okay, add to my party. Boom. And so now I have a party going around with me. So there's absolutely that kind of thing. It's good to know, like, you'll see people, and so you can change your life. You know, I'm related to all the lives with this one already. But you don't have to. Like I said, you can do the entire game with just one life. You can do a non-combat run all you want. But getting back to the quests. So that's the challenges. Stars are... They're displayed with your currencies. Like if I look at my status here, or actually, no, we just had it up here. Okay, so you can see up here, this is my current level, this is my experience, my current rank for my current life. And these are kind of all, these two are definitely currencies. This one is listed with the currencies, but it's really more of an experience. And you'll get these from the 3 different types of quests. So challenges will give you stars. The story-related ones, so like the Flutter's requests in this one, whatever her name's requests probably in The Girl Who Steals Time, will give you bliss. Bliss is used, once you get enough of it, to buy upgrades that carry over across lives, so things like a bigger bag, a bigger storage in your home, get a pet. You can get these pets, cats, dogs, other types of pets, that just like NPCs can come join you in combat. You can get increases to the marketing, what the market the various stores have, and later on things like, oh, I want to change my hairstyle, I want to have an audio mixer thing, whatever. So these are like bonuses you can buy. You can see there I got 8 out of 22 of the dang things, and those are from the second category, which again on this one are listed as Flutter's requests. And then finally you have other requests. These are your typical NPC given side quests. You know, hey, I want you to go bring me a good quality iron hammer. You know, and I will pay you with 3,000 dosh. Go make me a super boiled veg. I'll give you 200 dosh and a coral necklace, and so on. So these are ones that, you know, as you advance the story, as you rank up in your various lives and so on, you'll unlock more of them as you do them. So, for example, here, the Sleeping on Duty again. This is the sequel to one that he already had, which was Sleeping on Duty, and it's like, okay, bring me 3 sleep antidotes. Okay, now it's not working well enough. Bring me 3 super sleep antidotes, which is basically a higher quality version of a sleep antidote. Probably. That's what the super boiled veg and the super juicy mutton are. Those are higher qualities. You have higher qualities. You start at normal, good, great, top quality. With some of them, though, like for cooking and alchemy, they come out as super instead. So that's that. And so you have those things. Like I said, you've got your little pouch here. You can have your cookables and your, you know, consumables. And yeah, so that's kind of the basics that you can expect. You know, we'll demonstrate some of the little mini games or things here. So, for example, what you can expect is that's not a very good one to try demonstrate on. Here we go. This will work. You'll have the gathering deposits, so like ores and trees and all that. You can kind of go around it, and you're trying to find like there's a crit spot for it, and then once you get it low, you can eventually get a charge up thing, and boom, you'll get X. If you do that at the right thing, you get multiples. Since I'm not a miner as my profession right now. I only got 2. If I was a miner, I would have got 3 of these. But yeah, you'll have to try to find the sweet spot. It does a little bit more damage with it. Your stats do matter, as well as your gear. So if I take my character here and I go try to do, like, I'll have reached places that I just can't do damage to it. It's like, even if I find the sweet spot, it does 0 damage to it because my strength is not good enough. See if I can demonstrate what the sweet spot looks like. Oh, that was a crit. And yeah, you can crit on your gathering. So there's a lot to these games. Wow, that's 2 crits in a row. And yeah, because I'm not doing the thing here, but I am a woodcutter right now, you can see I'm getting 2. Here, let's do the charge up. Excellent. And there's 3. Oh, no, yeah, there's the 3rd one. Have you been to Elderwood? East of Dragon's Plans? Yes, yes, yes. Great Elderwood tree. Yep, and here's giving me one of those challenges to go get the bounty for that thing. And he'll probably give me something as an item. Nope, he's just telling me about the thing. So yeah, there you can see. I've advanced it, I can gather things. But one of the things to keep in mind is, let's take a look at skills here. You have skills for just about everything, very similar to Rune Factory. The difference is, compared to Rune Factory, with Rune Factory, you don't need to be taught to use the skills. You have them automatically, and you just level them up. With this one, the only ones you start with are going to be dashing and sneaking. And you'll have to do other stuff. And dagger. You'll have dagger as your 1 combat skill. But you won't have any cooking. You won't have any of these until you get to a life that has it. So, for example, if I want to be like the paladin has the specialist life here. When I start as a paladin, you'll be given a sword and a shield. But you can't equip them yet, because now you got to go, as part of your tutorial mission, find someone who's going to teach you how to use the sword. And then go find someone who's going to teach you how to use the shield. So, until you have learned those skills, you can't use them. Which means that, I can't equip, a frying pan until I get the cooking skill. And your gear is going to be based on the level of your stuff. So, for example, the shields here. This requires shield level 1. I can equip this. This one requires level 2. I cannot equip it. Doesn't matter that I'm, not a paladin. As you can see, it's usable by everyone. But it requires the level 2 shield skill. And so you'll run into that with the frying pan. Like, hey, I need to... your first starter ones will be level 1. And as you can see, I've got higher level stuff here. But until you get far enough into that tutorial quest to learn the cooking skill, you can't equip a frying pan. So it's very much that, oh, hey, I need to be taught how to breathe and wear a hat and whatever kind of style to that. So take it slow, and as you can see, some of the stuff is just gear dependent or level dependent. Some is class dependent. If I go back home, I can demonstrate all of the... go to my storage. And we'll take out and demonstrate some of the stuff here. It's like, okay, woodcutter only, miner only, and there's gender specific stuff also. There's gender male only, female only stuff. So yeah, absolutely. Oh, here we go. Iron Helm can be worn by paladin, by mercenary, the woodcutter, the same 6 I pointed out earlier. Kind of your strength related professions, your strength and vitality ones, can't be worn by the other side. So they're not all just one class specific either. Finally, let's go demonstrate what I was talking about with the crafting style, because there is actually some stuff a little bit more there we haven't talked about. There are, in addition to the mini games, there's kind of like levels to them. Like you start out, you can only make one at a time of a thing, even if it's say, like I've got a ton of ore, but I can only make, one ingot at a time. Or since we just cut down a lot of trees, you come to the carpenter's thing. Oh, that got unplugged, sorry. Carpenter's workbench, choose a recipe. Select an item to craft. And so here you can see, I have to make enough of these beams to be able to multi them, to make multiples at a time. At start, I can only do one at a time. And then eventually you'll get the ability to automatically make it. You just don't even have to play the minigame. And then eventually you get automatic plus, which I think is going to be where you can finally get the qualities. Because with automatic, you get normal quality only. So, but we'll do oak beam here. Quantity extras. Make 10 at a time. Confirm. And begin. And here we go. This is the minigame, like I was talking. You got the try to get it in the middle. Hold down. Tap. Hold down. And tap. And you can see, like, you had the little icon down here saying, hey, this is where you're going to go. And you can see which one it is by highlighting it. And, oh, able to make better than usual, so I got one extra. That's not a very good one, but I'm not exactly in a profession that's great with this, so whatever. If I was in the woodcutter profession, I'd probably get a few bonuses. I've seen as many as 3 or 4 bonus. So make the item again. We'll do that again, just to demonstrate how it's not the same pattern every single time either. Time it. And if you kind of screw it up, you don't get as good a quality, which can affect the getting multiples. Like there, I got nice there. So I might not get as many multiples. If I'm making something that has a quality to it, I might not get as good a quality anymore. There we go, I got 2 extra this time. It's random how that was. Mastered the recipe. Auto mode plus is now available. Boom. And if you do them one by one, you get more experience than if you do them as the bundle like that again. But let's say, let's make something a little harder, so we can kind of get a look at quality. We'll make a wooden cabinet, since we're playing around with the wood cutting. And see if we can get a good quality one here. I'm not exactly in the right life for this kind of thing to be doing it well. And your lives will give you benefits and bonuses to the quality, but you can see, there we go, top quality. You'll have the different like little crowns here giving you things. So this one is a top quality item. And quit. And you can see I'm getting experience just making things. That's experience that carries over across all of my stuff. That is my character level, not my class level, or not my life level. So, absolutely, take your time with this game when it comes out. If you do want to look into this one, see if you can find it cheap. Absolutely, go for it. The eShop is closed, so you can't get the DLC anymore. But we can expect some DLCs probably from the sequel when it comes out later this year. We don't, like I said, we don't know if it's going to come out simultaneously in the West as in Japan, or if it's just hype for the Japanese release and then we'll get the Western release next year. I don't know. Hopefully you have more characters though, because I couldn't name myself anything. Like, my real name, I couldn't use. I have 7 letters in my name, and I couldn't type it in. I could only use 6 characters for my name, so I'm like, okay, we'll go with Kitten. Just for the hell of it, because I have the little cat mouth and everything. I was like, okay, well, screw it. So that is Fantasy Life. It is Fantasy Life I, things you can expect from it in the future. Eventually you'll have other fast travel things that you can unlock through the game, that are paid ones, like, hey, I want to get a horse so I can travel faster on foot across the place. I can, you know, get an airship to go somewhere faster, that kind of thing. And as you explore and unlock more of the place, you'll get more of those. I don't know how that's going to work with the deserted island. In this one, we have the 3 different cities, plus you'll have merchants out there in the wild that you can buy from, and so on. But this one, it sounds like you're building up a singular city. So we'll see what comes of it. But, like, yeah, I can come over here and talk to these guys. Maybe it's this one. Yep. Airship. I can go wherever I want that I've explored so far. Sort of. And, so it is a thing. Keep your eyes out. I'll let you guys know when I find out more about it, because it's absolutely a game that I'm absolutely interested in. I think it's definitely something worth a look at. And it definitely avoids some of my concerns with Animal Crossing. I know people keep comparing it to Animal Crossing, but it has its own in-game time that advances as you go about and do things. This will shift from morning to day to night. You can go back to your room and sleep or rest. You can rest to make it into the evening, or you can sleep to get to the next day, and so on. And it's not like, oh, real world time. So, absolutely looking forward to it. I'll let you guys know when I find out more, and I hope you guys have a great time. In the meantime, I will see you next time. See ya!